What's the most shocking thing you found out about someone you know?
I worked with an ex-Marine closely for years. My last day I asked him to help me with something and he said, "Oh sure, ask the guy with one leg." I told him he was full of it, and he took a hammer and hit his shin, to which I heard metal. Thinking it was a joke, I asked him to lift his pants. Sure enough, this man had one leg and I never knew.
We found out at the funeral that my wife's grandpa had a second family. There was a group of people huddling around his widow that no one recognized. They were chatting it up with Grandma for quite some time, and eventually my wife's dad and aunt asked them to leave. There was kids, adults and seniors in this group, multiple generations of people. My mother-in-law finally fessed up and said they were his other family. Jaws hit the floor, and it was really weird for the rest of the ceremony. They also tried to claim some of his stuff afterwards. Had to watch Grandma's house like a hawk, cause they would snoop around and try to say he would want us to have this.
My dad committed tax fraud, perjury, and identity fraud against me to the Canadian government. I am a disabled university student. He is a pilot that makes $300,000 per year.
My wife died 2 years ago at a young age, 49. A week later I decided to go through her personal devices to see if there were any other friends or family that needed to be contacted. What I found instead is that my wife had always been chasing after other men during our entire 12 years together. When she met me, she had a side BF that she was crushing on, but his life was too much of a mess for her to seriously consider him as a suitor. She was a single mom with 2 kids and needed stability. But she loved the attention he showered her with, constantly begging her for sex, and there were other men, too, that she met online. In total, I was up to 6 BFs she had during the time of our relationship. I stopped digging because each new BF revelation absolutely destroyed me. It did explain, however, why our relationship stalled after we moved in together. She became disinterested in growing deeper in relationship with me, and was doing the minimum to keep stringing me along because I was paying the bills for her and her kids. And because I genuinely loved her, I was always hoping things would eventually get better between us. But things were never going to get better, only worse, because she was actively sabotaging our chances.
Someone that I went to high school with who became a family doctor got busted for being a pedophile. In the article, it said he was wanting to abuse boys and girls as young as 1 and 3. His father was a family doctor, in our small town too, so it was quite the scandal.
He off Jeffrey Dahmer. I grew up in the same neighborhood as Chris Scarver. I didn't even know that was him till I attended a friend's wedding. Another guy and I were catching up and he said, "You heard about Chris, right?" I replied, "What did that crazy do this time?" He replied, "He off Dahmer." Then it hit me that I saw him on TV and didn't even recognize him.